Hello and welcome to Guy Logic. My name is Temko and today we're taking a look at Defunct. Now, what is Defunct? Well, it's a game that describes itself as an adventure racing game where you are a little robot that has been dropped from a spaceship thingy to the Earth and you have to find your way back home in a world devoid of humans and filled with robots and scrap and various obstacle courses, which robots apparently like racing quite a bit. Now, let's go ahead and dive into the options menu, and I will tell you exactly what the game does well and what it doesn't do that well. What it does really well, though, is its PC powers, because the options menu, the performance, and all things related to that are pretty damn good. Now, let's go through and I'll explain each one as we combine. Language-wise, the game is coming out in a total of 6 languages, which is pretty amazing. Tutorials on or off, which is always good. Field of view, the game is third person, over the shoulder sort of thing. So field of view isn't that important, but it's still nice that it's here. The only problem I have with this is it doesn't tell you exactly what this field of view is you're having. So yeah, I don't know what I'm exactly editing here. Nonetheless, it's there, it's good. But they should probably spend some time adding in tooltips. FOV effects amount, I've put a maximum. I have no idea what it does because again, it doesn't explain anything. And camera shake, which is pretty self-explanatory. And I've turned this off because camera shakes in a racing game that requires precision is kind of annoying. And apply this, head back and go to video. Now video options are resolution options going from tiny to humongous. The game runs pretty well on all resolutions. Full screen on or off, sadly no full screen windowed, also no colorblind mode. And although that isn't exactly the major thing in this game, it would have been still nice to have this. It would have been a nice addition. Brightness, I put this all the way down. There is no need to have it higher. The game is pretty colorful. The game uses some pretty nice aesthetics, even though it has like valleys. It also has like flowery fields, and it has forests, and it has these deep valleys, and even oceanic areas. So there's a very pretty varied biodome here, which is pretty good. And it's all really well lighted and all of that. Vertical sync, turn this off. The game isn't capped at any FPS, so there's absolutely no reason to turn this on. I've not noticed any form of screen tearing whatsoever. So I just put this off because no need. The game runs at an average about 100-150 FPS on my GTX 780. So if you have a higher end unit, that is probably going to run quite a bit better. One thing I have noticed in relation to FPS is that it drops quite a bit. When you enter a large area from a small area, like a tunnel into a field, the FPS can drop quite hard down to under 30 FPS in certain situations. So we don't want that. But on the other hand, it performs quite well even the lowest end systems. We have a laptop here that doesn't even have a graphics card. It's a scrap laptop we used for, well, nothing really. But we tried it out for shits and giggles and it worked. Sort of, but it worked. So that's pretty good. So the game runs on a wide range of systems and it's quite playable on all of them, except for the aforementioned highest end settings where it does have massive frame drops. So this is probably an optimization thing. Draw distance is really far, it's really good, and it doesn't really have any problems with pop-in that I've noticed. Shadow quality goes from off to very high, and texture quality from low to very high. Anisotrophic filtering on or off, and anti-aliasing up to 8, which is all pretty decent. Audio options, master volume, music volume, effects volume, and ambient volume, all pretty good. There's no subtitles, but there's also no dialogue in the game, so that is not exactly necessary. All in all, a pretty decent audio and options menu. If we head back to the keyboard bindings, you'll see that it has primary and secondary bindings. The game doesn't use your mouse for anything, except the options menu, which they've incorporated full mouse control, which is really commendable for a game that doesn't use the mouse at all for anything. And you don't need it. The game is really playable with keyboard or controller, but it doesn't need the mouse. And they've still added mouse support for the options menu, which is something I can really get behind. It's commendable. Also primary, secondary bindings, and it's all rebindable. So all in all, really good. Something even better is that the controller has primary and secondary bindings, and they are also rebindable, which is absolutely amazing. Very few games do this, and this is absolutely awesome. More games should do this. Definitely do this. Commendable. Definitely commendable. So we head back to the game, and I can start a new game, which I'm not going to. And we're going to go into level select, and I'm going to explain to you how the game goes and what the exact gameplay elements are of this pseudo racing time attack game. So let's get into it. So gameplay. You progress through the levels as you progress through the story, and once you start a new game, you'll unlock these levels one by one as you go through them. And the entire thing from start to finish will last you about 2 hours. I did it a bit faster. If you're being a bit slower, you can do that too. But generally speaking, you will last about 2 hours from start to finish. Now, once you finish the game and you are there and you're done, you might think, well, what then? I finished the game in 2 hours. Is that worth my money? The game is fun, and everything it does is really, really fun. But if you do not enjoy score attacks, if you do not enjoy speedruns, if you do not enjoy these time trial games, then this is not the game for you. What the game does, it does really well. But it's short, and it's fully designed around speedrunning for all its replayability. I'll show you what I mean. So you progress through these levels, and each level will have a couple of collectibles. You can see them here on the right. I have none in this level, and there's a maximum of 5. And these collectibles unlock certain things. If you go to unlockables here, they will unlock a living paint job for my robot and some tricks I can do on the fly. But once you collect all 40 of these, you can see that in the bottom right, you're done. That is all the unlockables you will get. So only thing left after that, and all of this together will last you maybe 2 or 3 hours if you're a real completionist. After that, all you can really do is do the various time trials. Now, the time trial here is to finish the level as fast as possible. The time trial over the hills is the same. Finish the level as fast as possible, and there's leaderboards that will tell you exactly how fast or how slow you are. Obviously, this is a press build, so there aren't that many people yet, but this is the way you go. And you have levels like the rolling hills, which tell you to activate all triggers as fast as possible. Again, time trials. And you optimize these runs, and the more efficient you are, the better you are, the higher in the ranking you will get, the higher your score will be. And that's it. You can get, if you like this sort of thing, the game executes it really well. And I'll show you a bit of pre-recorded gameplay I did earlier and showcase the game a little bit in that regard. But this is the game. These levels, a couple of these side levels you unlock, is all the gameplay available. And for me personally, I'm not a fan of time trials. I'm not a fan of speedrunning. So I've done a couple of collectibles, I've done a few things, and I'm pretty much done with the game. I see no reason to continue playing, trying to optimize each level, trying to get there. If you do, more power to you, and this is an amazing game, and I'll show you in a second why. If you don't, you might want to wait on a sale for this specific title. So let me go ahead and dive into a pre-recorded bit, and I'll show you exactly what I mean with the game. Now, the reason I'm using a pre-recorded bit is because the game is really fast, really intense, and all that would happen would be me going for the entire duration of crashing into walls, which nobody likes to see. So let me load up that very level and show you what I mean by the game being pretty good. So let's get into the level then and see where we go. Here we go. I'm going to accelerate using the gravity. And if you're going downhill, you can accelerate using gravity. And if you're going uphill, that will slow you down. So it's really important to make sure that when you are accelerating, you're going downhill. And these little bubbles I pick up are going to give me a speed boost. And this platform let me jump. And as you can see, I picked up this little bottle here. And that's going to give me a little bit of a speed boost. So these 4 elements. Oh, and this one as well, obviously, sticking to walls. Now these couple of elements combined are really the entire game's mechanics. You go downhill and you accelerate with gravity. You use these energizer shots from these bottles to give you a little speed boost on the road. And then you can stick to walls and pick up these bubbles of speed to increase your movement speed. All of this combined will let you traverse these levels with extreme speed, and proper planning and proper execution will allow you to run through these levels with extreme haste and with good timings. Now, I'm not doing that well here because I've already made a couple of mistakes. I crashed into walls and stuff like that. But what I want to point your direction to is the aesthetic you've been seeing. It is really pretty. It's diverse. There's like a forest area here with like cliffs and rocks and steel, and there's a couple of nice different areas. But what you'll see here is as we leave this area is that the entire atmosphere of the game changes. And it does so nearly instantly. Now this previous area had a bit of a foresty feel. You were doing obstacles and the like. This part here does away with that. It basically says, just go fast. Speed up as fast as you bloody well can. And the game shines in this situation. Getting speed ups, positioning yourself properly, getting all these obstacles out of the way, making sure you get everything right is absolutely phenomenal. And I mean, look at it. It is so pretty. Oh, there you go. I hit something. And you can fly and land as well. There. So that's a bit of part of the gameplay that does this. I'm gonna skip the cutscenes here to make sure we don't mess up. It's gonna give me a loading screen because I skipped cutscenes. I'm gonna skip another cutscene. Get to it. There you go. And now I'm in the second level. And you can see how the atmosphere completely changed here. It's darker. It's more grim. It's more interesting. I don't know how to play the game. And it really changes the atmosphere of the game around quite a bit. Different levels have completely different approaches. The previous level, you could plan ahead quite well. You knew the route you needed to take, and you knew where you would end up while you were doing that. In this level, there's a varied number of routes, and I haven't actually found the best one yet. Some other player will probably do that sooner or later. But this level is a lot slower. It takes longer, it has more hazards, and it's less of a cohesive whole that you can optimize and tune in one go. I forgot to wall climb here, which wasn't exactly my smartest moment. What you can see on this level here, and what you can see in the entire game, is that you have these downtime moments, which you really shouldn't have in a racing simulation game, which is where the adventure part comes in. The game isn't all about getting to the end of the racetrack, getting to the end of the level. It does have some forms where you explore the level and find out secrets. But the problem with that is that the game doesn't have enough of that, and the little bits it does have, you often stumble upon more by accident than intent. So what I'm doing here is I'm getting a bunch of speed, and I think I'm really good. I'm getting a ton of speed, getting a bunch more speed. There we go. Speed, speed, speed. Come on, speed. Really good. And I jump, and obviously I do not make my jump. Now, if I made this jump, this level would have been over. I would have been fine. Because I didn't make the jump, I have to go different routes and try and find my way back up there to retry that jump. So the game does allow you a little bit of exploration and does allow you to do these other areas and things. Not everywhere in the game. The previous level was really tight and it was didn't really have any place where you could mess up. This level does have that, which is pretty nice to have. What this does mean though, if you are a speedrunner, then this level you'll probably restart right away. You can do that by pressing escape, and you get a menu up, and you can restart the level or restart a checkpoint, etc. So if you're doing a time trial, you'll probably restart the level and try again. I personally really enjoy this level because I'm personally not a time trial player. I am not a speedrunner. So the aesthetic and the atmosphere, including audio and the little robot trying to get up the hills with his broken engine and trying to get a little bit of speed going downhill with his graviton engine, really gave me quite a nice experience. One thing to add though is something that I don't often see in these games is these little obstacles. There are not many of them, and they're not exactly the biggest danger because you don't really have a hit point pool, so they'll just make you finish the level slower. And if you're a speedrunner, you would probably restart the level. But I'm not. And so I just chugged along, trying to survive and make it to the top of the level. As you can see, the game is very responsive, but it does have things like momentum. It does have gravity, which is obviously a key component of the gameplay, and it does have turning speed, and it does have a few limitations on what you can do at any moment. Now, these limitations are consistent. These limitations are obvious, and they're really well executed in the game, so that is really good. I really enjoy that. But again, I'm going to come back to my main point. What I've done so far in the game is fun. I've really enjoyed myself. But there isn't much more. Unless I'm speedrunning, I am done. There's nothing extra. And while all the levels are unique, And each area is finely crafted with a very nice atmosphere. And each little puzzle, in terms of obstacles, in terms of speed, in terms of what you're trying to accomplish, is really, really good. Unless you're speedrunning, there isn't enough of it. Now, what you could see just now was a little bit of a hiccup in terms of FPS, because I came out of an enclosed area into an open area. My FPS dropped from over 200 down to 20, and you could also see the game was trying to save, so that may have something to do with it. Now, something I do enjoy in this game, again, they do add some cool mechanics, is these puddles. They're not water, no, they're Energizer. The same bottles I picked up, this is those bottles in puddles. Obviously really cool, and really makes this level, again, very unique, and lets you build up a ton of speed. That's cool, that's the game's shining moment. This speed, this enormous boost of speed, trying to get these speedballs to keep going. Obviously amazing. So I really enjoyed this game, and I'm not gonna spoil the rest of this, but what is clear is that the game shines when you're acting in it. The game is very well crafted, and the game is a blast from start to finish, but there's so little of it, and that's a shame, because personally there just is so little that I'm not sure it's worth the price. And that price could be $15, and the price could be $20, but for an hour of gameplay, that is too little. So short of being a great lover of speedrunning, and in that case this game is a gem and you should definitely try it out, I'm not sure if there's enough content to carry this game forward. It's fun, it's highly crafted, it performs well, and if speedrunning is your thing, then this game is definitely on your radar. So, check it out. Defunct, brought to you by Freshly Squeezed from Sweden. You can check it out on Steam on the 29th of January. And if you like this video, press the like button below. If you didn't like the video, you can press the dislike button. It's there for a reason. And if you want to see more content like this, press that subscribe button. And we'll see you next time right here on Guy Logic.